Let's dive into a pretty big idea from a source called recurrence machines. It offers this really fascinating and maybe a little unsettling new way to look at the rhythm of history.
I mean, you feel it, right? The sense that things are unstable, that the systems we rely on are kind of breaking down. But what if it isn't just random chaos?
Well, this analysis makes a pretty bold claim that underneath all the noise and the headlines, civilization actually has a hidden heartbeat, a predictable rhythm that's been pulsing along for thousands of years.
So, what is this pulse? What's driving it? According to this source, it all comes down to two major interlocking cycles that are constantly shaping our world.
Okay, first up, we have what you could call the economic breath of history. These are Kondratiev waves. Just think of them as these 50 to 60-year-long economic cycles. It goes like this. A new technology sparks a massive boom. Optimism is everywhere. And then, eventually, that tech runs its course and you get a bust. And this is definitely not a new thing. It's happened over and over. From steam engines and textiles way back in the 1780s, to rail and steel, electricity, all the way up to networks and data in the 90s. Each one of these waves rides a new technology that doesn't just reorganize our economy, it completely reshapes our faith in the future. Now, paired up with that economic breath is a social one. It's called the Strauss-Howe generational cycle. This one's longer, more like an 80 or 90-year rhythm, and it tracks the shifting moods, the moral attitudes of society as we move through the generations. And this cycle follows a really predictable flow. It starts with a high, where institutions are solid and everyone kind of falls in line. Then comes in awakening, where the next generation rebels against all that order. That leads to an unraveling, where individualism is king and nobody trusts the system. And that all builds to a crisis, where faith just collapses and society demands a hard reset. But here's the crucial part. These two cycles, the economic one and the social one, they aren't separate. The source uses this incredible metaphor. They are like two lungs in the body of time, breathing in and out together, and shaping history as they go. And get this whole pattern didn't just kick off with the Industrial Revolution. Nope. This analysis actually traces the rhythm all the way back to the ancient world, showing how big leaps in how we move actually create brand new moral codes. Let's take ancient Rome. Their real game-changing innovation wasn't just conquering everybody. It was maintenance. They built roads, aqueducts, and legal systems that were meant to last. And by doing that, they basically invented a whole new ideology.
They showed the world that stability itself could be a sacred thing. Keeping the system running, paving a road, enforcing a law, that became a form of faith. Order itself became the highest moral good.
Now fast forward a few centuries to the Mongols. They built a totally different kind of empire, not of stone, but of pure speed. Their innovation was motion. They were absolute masters of logistics.
And the result was a new virtue. In a world full of local gods and family loyalties, the Mongols proved that a message, delivered quickly and reliably, was a more powerful glue than any shared belief system. Velocity was virtue. And then you have the great maritime powers, the age of exploration. The key innovation here wasn't just finding new land. It was the discovery that the entire planet was a single measurable system. This, of course, created a whole new moral framework. Tools like the compass and the chronometer weren't just gadgets. They turned exploration into a kind of scientific revelation. The map literally replaced the metaphor. To chart the world was to claim its conscience. There's a quote from the source that just nails this pattern perfectly. Each mistook a new medium of connection for a new covenant with destiny. Roman roads, Mongol couriers, Portuguese ships, they all believed their specific technology made them special, that it was a sign they were on the right side of history. So we have these two huge rhythms, the economic and the social. What in the world happens when they sync up? When they both hit a crisis point at the exact same time? Well, that is what the source calls the Great Convergence. You see, when the engine of the economy and the engine of social trust both run out of steam at once, it feels apocalyptic. But it's not the end of the world. It's more like a system-wide audit, a great reformation. History literally retunes itself. The world doesn't end, it just rebalances its books. And we have absolutely been here before. The pattern echoes through modern history.
The 1870s, the 1930s, the 1970s. Each time, a major economic crisis slammed into a crisis of social faith, and the result was a fundamental restructuring of society.
And that, of course, brings us to today. The argument is that we're living through one of these great convergences right now. The digital and data wave is maturing, while at the exact same time, our generational cycle is deep in its crisis turning.
So, if this is all just a predictable pattern, are we trapped? Are we just along for the ride? Not necessarily. According to this analysis, the key is actually understanding the pattern itself.
See, this isn't a fatalistic idea. Thinking of this as history repeating is a trap. It makes you feel powerless. The goal is to see it as a pattern revealing itself. Because when you can see the pattern, you start to understand the logic of the system you're in. And that's where you find agency.
And that leads to the ultimate takeaway here, an idea called conscious recurrence. It's the notion that by simply becoming aware of the rhythm, by seeing the machinery at work while you're inside it, you actually change your relationship to it. Awareness itself can be a form of action. Look, these cycles aren't going to stop. The waves are going to keep rising and falling. But the source leaves us with this really powerful question. If we can finally hear the deep rhythm of history, does that give us the power to change the song?